This past weekend we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the landing on the moon, which is probably, in my view, the most extraordinary thing mankind has achieved in, say, the last 1,000 years. And I decided to ask myself a question as to say, what have we achieved in this country or in this world that is even remotely comparable to that, I'll just say in the last 10 years. And I couldn't think of a single thing that I could say about that would even remotely compare to the landing on the moon. And while I was pleased at what I saw on the television, even in the newspapers, everybody was celebrating this tremendous feat, we seem to still nonetheless have marginalized our perception of what America has achieved since we have been a nation, what we have done for the world since we've been a nation. It seems to me that we're a country now that is just completely obsessed with our own identity. We have marginalized what it means to be an American. I really hate making these kind of videos, but you know, sometimes I have to make them because it seems like we lose track of who we are. And because of the way sometimes thoughts get in because of the result of social media and newspapers and Facebook and Twitter, I feel it's my duty as an American citizen to respond to it. So that's why I make these kinds of videos. I'm not a favorite of it, and it's certainly not a favorite of mine to do it. But since I've taken this wonderful time in my day to sit here by the river, overlooking the beautiful muddy Ohio River, and talking to you, I wanted to just express what I think, you know, is going on here. And it seems to me that we don't have a good core sense of value of who we are. Where did we lose the concept of being an American? Why is it more important to talk about being gay or being queer or being white or being black or being a person of color? We're all obsessed now with the color of our skin, not the content of our character. That's disappeared. Again, we've marginalized being an American. We want to put ourselves in these little categories. I'm an LGBT. I'm gay. I'm a lesbian. I'm white. I'm black. I associate with the Ku Klux Klan. You associate with the ACLU. You associate with the Black Panthers. You associate with the Nation of Islam. Whatever it is. Now, it's our sexual identity that we have that identifies the whole spectrum of who we are. When did that ever happen? Why is it so important to have, and I'm not knocking the LGBT community, I want to be perfectly understood as saying that. I don't hate people who do different things in their bedroom than I do. I don't. I don't have that bias. I'm not a racist, even though I'm probably going to be labeled as one. You're always labeled a racist, especially if you disagree with the norm. Yeah, you are who you are, and that's great. I don't care what you are, what you represent. But I do care when it overrides who we are as American people. And I see something happening in our society that is dangerous. We are obsessed with having and carving out this new world order identity, as I like to call it, because I think that's exactly what's going on here. And it has nothing to do with being a Democrat or a Republican. I am neither of those. I don't receive endorsements from my videos from a Democrat or a Republican. Nobody pays for these videos. I make them myself. I despise both parties. I'm an independent in the sense that I may hold conservative values on a lot of things, but I also hold a lot of liberal attitudes too. You may not hear them, but if you look for them, they're there. I'm more of a free-spirited person myself. I also live in a very beautiful town here. It's a nice, prosperous town. It's a rich town. People work hard here. People live in nice homes. It's nice to live in this town now. It's nice to reside here and be prosperous and be a part of this wonderful community, upstanding community. Liberal or Democrat, there are people here to pay a lot of money to live here. You see, I know what it's like to live with people of prosperity, and I also know what it's like to live with a bunch of bums. Okay? So, it's nice to still stay in a community where that traditional American hardcore value still resides and is still a part of the integral network, if you will, of what it is to be an American person in this country. I don't identify with all these groups of people or all these political affiliations. I've learned my lessons from those kinds of things. I have decided to make myself the representative of me. See, in the end, it's not for Democrats or Republicans. It's us against them. I've told you guys before, I don't like making videos in favor of someone over another person or another organization or another thing or concept or whatever it is. I want you to do your thinking for yourself. I want you to walk away from my video thinking, you know what? Is he on to something here? Is he saying something? Or if you can add something to this. That's the whole concept that I have. It's really nothing that's extraordinary here. I just offer a view, I offer an idea, you listen to it, you process it, and you go on from there. Or you don't do anything at all, then my channel's not for you. That's fine. There's lots of YouTube channels out there that offer you the selection of topics that you wish to entertain yourself with. I always have been a student of history, as you know, and I often make historical references, and I'm going to do it in this video again. I always find the answers to a lot of America's problems deeply rooted in history. And today's history lesson is going to deal with ancient Rome. You see, the Romans had a beautiful concept. And if I was in the Colosseum right now, in ancient Rome, if I could go back in the time and even watch a gladiator match, and a fellow Roman citizen would be sitting next to me, I would bring up the Latin term Dignatas. And Dignatas doesn't have an English equivalent, but I'm going to explain what it is. It's a concept. It is an obligation that a Roman citizen had, specifically a male, where he had a sanctity to his family, a commitment to community, a preservation of his ancestry, an obligation to his gods, or just one god, an obligation to his government, to honor and preserve and protect his family. These were very deep and serious concepts for a Roman male citizen of the time. This kept the society intact. We've lost that sense. We've lost that identity. We don't have that anymore. Dignatas does not exist in American culture. I see it dissipating. Okay? I see us engaged in a very fundamentally serious cultural civil war. That's what I see going on in America right now. And I'm very disturbed by that because we're slowly erasing our identity in favor of construing and constructing our new individual identities. There's nothing wrong with an individual identity. I'm not against that. But when you put it in place of the nation in which you reside that gives you that right to create that identity, that's when I have a problem with it. Does everybody follow that and understand that? That's what I'm talking about. You can have your identity, but you can't abolish your identity over the country's identity. That's not how it works. And Roman citizens understood that. And that was the integrity of their society. So Dignatas is more of a concept rather than it is a word. Because some people have argued, mostly scholars, said that, you know, the equivalent to that would be dignity. Well, it's a little bit deeper than that. The Latin semantics wouldn't allow it. It's more of a concept, a collective concept of one word to fulfill all obligations in society, to make men of honor and goodwill and trustworthy when your name meant something. Today, a name doesn't mean anything. People don't go by names anymore in that regard. Okay, not in the Roman sense, as we understand it, as they understood it. Okay? We have forgotten that. We have gone from the Pledge of Allegiance to the castigation of allegiance. Okay? We have gone from not believing in God to, you know, believing in God to not believing in God. We have gone from saluting the flag to burning the flag. This is where we're at in American society now. This is why I picked the topic of this video. We need to bring back those Roman moral virtues that have been lost in American society. We no longer have that. We no longer think that there's serious causes of concern for especially young people. I'm not saying all young people are like this. I'm not saying that. But there is a substantial amount of it missing, I think, in each different phases of American society and culture. There's no reasoning among us anymore. There's no free thinking among us anymore. And I don't mean free thinking in a sense where it's dangerous. I mean free thinking in a sense that it is a obligation to make you a better, upstanding citizen in your society. That's what I'm talking about. It seems to be gone. I want to bring that back. I want to bring back that honor, that integrity, that awareness, self-awareness of what it is to be a concerned citizen in this country. irrespective of your opinions, of that of others or political parties. We need to bring back that honor and integrity. It's missing. It's missing on both parties. It's missing from Democrats. It's missing from Republicans. We need to bring it back. So with that said, that's what I mean by Dignatas. We had Dignatas here one time in American society. Not on the level the Romans had it, but we had it. Okay? I want to bring some of that back. I want us to be a nation again. I want us to be a nation of all people, irrespective of what it is, your political affiliation, your sexual orientation. Those are ancillary. But bring back here, in the soul, the conscience of the soul, as St. Paul would talk about it in the book of Romans in the New Testament. That is what I want to see back in our society. That is what is going to make us a better country, and that is what is going to put on the plate of discussion. I want the dinner table chat to be full of that instead of being at each other's throats and calling each other racist, where nothing gets done. Because the politicians have failed us. It's us against them. Surely from that perspective, if you look along the problem along those lines, maybe you'll understand it better. Okay? I'll see you in the next video.